Hey everybody, this is Darren Sabedra again with the Bay Area News Group, Mercury News, East Bay Times, here with Joseph Dycus and Mike Lefkow as we head into round 2 of the high school football playoffs here across the Bay Area. Week 13. I think this is the 13th week of high school football for us. Joseph, I told you it was a long one, but it's gone by pretty quick, huh?
It's gone by so fast. I say that every single week, but it just seems like it's flying by.
Right. We're almost to well, not quite to the finish line, but we can see it. We can now see it. Mike Lefkow, how are you?
Oh, just fine. How about you guys?
Doing well. It was an exciting week of high school football in one section for some of those games, and in the other section, quite predictable in some of those matchups. Mike Lefkow, I mean, we talked a lot going into the into last week's show, or talked about it on last week's show about the the wide gap between some of these teams in the NCS bracket. I mean, they've got to look at it, and adults have to go in the room and say, you know what? Not to say there's not adults in the room, but I mean, they got to go into that room and say we cannot have Newark Memorial playing Marin Catholic in a first round game. I mean, that final was what, 69-0?
Yeah.
And it was 60-0 at halftime.
Was that what it was? 60. No, it's got to be the leadership. I mean, I'm sorry, but the Pat Cruikshank and the other people in the office in San Ramon, they have to go there and start really pushing to make some changes. And I think there are a lot of coaches who would agree with it. I don't believe that they're just rubber stamping this kind of a playoff system.
Right. I mean, they probably have to do some campaigning within their membership to show why. Maybe even put up some illustrations and get some coaches' voices there. Maybe have some coaches show up and discuss what has been unfolding. I mean, I know there are a number of coaches who want a different format for NCS. Joseph, I mean, you can't have, you look at Division 4 for CCS, you look at Division 4 for NCS, you can't have any more different outcomes than what we saw last week, where in Division 4 CCS, we had Overfell, the 8th seed, losing to the 1 seed Sequoia 51-50 in double overtime. And then we had 69-0 between Marin Catholic and Newark Memorial.
Like, I don't think anyone's going to say the CCS's system is perfect. I mean, we went over that in our morning lights, but at the same time, I think it's a lot closer to the ideal for a playoff system when you look at, like you said, the close games throughout CCS versus in the NCS. It seemed like every other game was just a gigantic blowout in the first round.
Right. It almost feels as if the NCS playoffs are starting this weekend.
It does.
Whereas the CCS, we saw not only the double overtime game, we saw the game that I covered, Archbishop Mitty, the 6th seed in Division 1, where CCS puts its 8 best teams into Division 1, and they were able to beat Los Gatos, the 3 seed, 29-28 on a walk-off 2-point play from Wills Towers to Danny Scudero to win 20-28.
And I went down to Salinas and State Hard Prep went down to quite literally the last play of the game. Granted, with a 4-5 matchup, but still.
28-21, but even in the 7-2 matchup of CCS, we saw St. Francis needing a touchdown in the fourth quarter to take the lead and win 17-14 over Sacred Heart Cathedral. But it's clear, and you saw it again on Saturday, that the CCS has one team that has separated itself from the pack, and that being Sarah, which beat Palma 57-7. And one of my thoughts for CCS, a tweak, would be if you have a situation like this where the 8th seed is clearly no match for the 1 seed, the 1 seed should get a bye into the second round and move the 8th seed down and create that 6th division that the CCS needs, because we can put some of those C and B league teams in that spot and not lose any teams. Maybe one year, if you have a bye in Division 1 for the 1 seed, you have 47 teams in the field instead of 48 to make up the 6th division,
Completely agree.
Or you have 46 teams if the Division 2 team, like this year, had separated itself from the Division 8 team. Because, we all saw that. Lincoln had a great season. It was unfortunate that they had to play Wilcox in the first round. So you go into the meeting and, those coaches are smart. Go in there, and if everybody knows the outcome before they even take the field, make a tweak and create that 6th division. So,
Lefty, what do you think about this?
I don't know. My thing is, I think what the CCS should do is just go to a 6th division and have 48 teams.
Correct.
But that way you would have some of the teams that had good seasons but aren't in the so-called top leagues get into the playoffs. I wasn't all that disturbed by what happened between Sarah and Palma. Palma's got a pretty good track record, and okay, they're down a little bit this year. I wasn't all that disturbed about what happened between Wilcox and Lincoln. Even when I talked to Kevin Collins, he said this was a great experience for their players, and he hoped they watched Wilcox perform and would aspire to becoming a program like that. And even last year when Mount Diablo got hammered by Marin Catholic, the Mount Diablo coach said the same thing. It was good for our kids. They got an experience of a lifetime, and this is something we can aspire to. So I think in the CCS model, Palma had a rare off year, and then it came back and haunted them in the.
Well, they were a half a point ahead of Wilcox, so they could have easily been the 1 seed playing Lincoln last weekend,
right.
and Wilcox could have been the 8th seed playing Sarah.
And I don't think Wilcox would have lost 57-7 to Sarah. I don't believe that.
No, but I don't think they would have won either. I think I don't think they would have been done. And it goes back to what we've been talking about all season. That one Wilcox Lascatis game, the loser was going to benefit, and we're seeing it again. Lascatis is home for the rest of the month, and Wilcox is going to have a tough game this week against Bellarmine. And they would have a tough game again in the final. But if they keep rolling, and they're going to be on their home field Friday, and then a neutral field, I assume, on for the championship, they could make another long run like they did last year, where they made it all the way to Mission Viejo in a state championship game. One bit of an unfortunate game that unfolded last weekend. Happened up in Windsor with College Park and Windsor, and the way that game ended with a College Park defender hitting the Windsor backup quarterback who was taking a knee, and according to the Windsor coach, left the Windsor player with a concussion. That the coach, we reached out to him today, said the kid is resting at home. Hopefully he's doing better, but the Mount Diablo Unified School District Superintendent, Dr. Adam Clark, came out yesterday and told us here at the Bay Area News Group that the school is investigating, that the College Park is investigating, and they're gonna hold interviews with the coaches, players, spectators, review the film, and then send a report to Dr. Clark in the North Coast section. Mike Lefkow, we just have to wait and see how this plays out, or what do you think moving forward?
Yeah, it sounds like we won't really have a decision before tomorrow. So I think we're going to have to wait and see how it plays out. I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to gather information from College Park. And let's be honest about it, the College Park people are going to have a little bit different view of things than the Windsor people are going to have. So I think they're trying to gather information from all sides, and then whether it's Adam Clark who makes the decision or whether it's the principal and vice principal of College Park, I don't know. But yeah, I think we'll find out something tomorrow.
Joseph, you have any quick thoughts here before we move on to the picks?
I agree with Lefkow. We don't really know anything right now other than they are investigating. So we just got to wait and see what the investigation brings on.
It's just it's an unfortunate situation given what College Park went through just a couple of weeks ago with the coach getting suspended for the 84-0 game against Ignacio Valley. So tough spot there for College Park. Tough spot obviously for Windsor and the backup quarterback and just the situation out there. So we'll see what happens. We'll obviously report it, when we find out at eastbaytimes.com and mercurynews.com. Guys, anything else we want to discuss before we move on to semifinal picks, except for one game, which is a championship pick between De La Salle and Pittsburg? Anything else you guys want to touch on?
No,
I think we're good.
You're ready for picks?
All right.
Game one on the list, CCS Division 1. Rematch of a game played just 2 weeks ago. Be the Mitty Monarchs coming off that dramatic win over Los Gatos in overtime, 29-28. 8-3 on the season, going up against St. Francis. 8-3 on the season. Joseph, pronounce Kingston's last name for me. Can you?
I don't believe I can.
Kiana Anna. Is that close enough?
Sounds close enough. I'll have to go back to my recording of his brother pronouncing his name for me. That I got way back in the
you don't remember?
I do not remember this. This was back in early August.
I'm just going to call him the King because the King rushed for 163 yards last week and scored the winning touchdown in the fourth quarter against Sacred Heart Cathedral. 2 weeks ago against Mitty, he ran for 193 in 27 carries, 2 touchdowns. The King is definitely on top right now. I took Mitty 2 weeks ago. I'm not taking Mitty on Friday night. I'm going to take the Lancers to advance to the final. That's my pick. Lefkow, who you got?
Yep, I'm going to go with the Lancers. They seem to be playing good football right now.
Joseph?
That's tough. I'm going to take – you know what? I'll take Mitty. They've got the
you're taking Mitty, okay.
They've got the team of destiny.
They might. This might be their big win. This might be their big win.
They've had a tremendous year.
We're recording this on Tuesday. You may see Mitty's volleyball team spoil St. Francis tonight, maybe. And then see Mitty's. Well, you're not covering this game, but Mitty's.
I'll read about it in the roundup, or read about it.
No, Alex Simon will be there. Full report. Game 2 on the list, CCS Division 2. Bellarmine, 5-6. Got revenge last week against Menlo Atherton, playing against Wilcox, the top seed at 10-1. I forgot to say, Cal Preps predicts St. Francis to win 28-19. Joseph, I'll let you go first. Bellarmine, Wilcox.
I think it's the first time I picked against Bellarmine all year. I'm going to go with Wilcox winning.
Lefty.
Yep, I'm going to go with the Chargers.
I'm going with the Chargers too, and Cal Preps is also going with the Chargers 26-21. Glenn Reeves is scheduled to be out there to cover the game for us. Game 3 on the list, another CCS Division 2 matchup. Number 3 Aptos, 9-2 against number 2 St. Ignatius, 5-6. Couple of things to point out. I did my homework here. Aptos lost to Palma 24-21 on October 21st. Palma lost to Sarah 57-7 last week. SI lost to Sarah 21-7 on October 28th. I'm taking SI. I think it's going to be close, but I'm taking SI to win this game. Joseph, who you got?
Yeah, I'm going with SI. Well, I saw the same. I was looking at their schedule just like you, and yeah, it's I think St. Ignatius wins. I don't think they win by a ton, though. I think it's like maybe 10 points.
It's going to be close.
Close.
Lefty, who you got?
Well, I'm going to go with the upset and take Aptos.
You're going Aptos, that wing T.
Yep. I think they can be pretty tough with that wing.
Best in the state. Cal Preps is taking Aptos 27-26.
Wow.
CCS Division 3. Menlo School, a team I think I picked against last week at 6-5, hitting the road to go to Morgan Hill to play Live Oak 9-2. Obviously, I just noted that Menlo won a big game last week over TKA to complete the 2-game sweep of the Knights, and Live Oak beat Soledad. This is the first meeting between these teams in the Max Preps era. Lefty, I'll let you go first.
Well, I picked Live Oak to win that division, so I'm going to stick with Live Oak.
All right.
Yeah, I gotta stick with the home. I'm so far. I'm just sticking with the home team, the higher seed. Give me Live Oak.
I am taking Menlo School, and the computer's taking Live Oak 26, Menlo 22. So 3-1 on that one. Game 5 on the list. Another tough one. Branham at 10-1, going on the road to 2-seed Mountain View, 4-7 Lefty, 4-7. The Spartans. Branham has Will Augenstein. Mountain View does not. I'm taking Branham. Joseph, who you got?
You took the words right out of my mouth. I think Branham wins because they have Augenstein. They have some really good weapons on the outside.
Lefty?
Yep, I'm going with Branham. I think they're the better team.
Cal Prep says Branham 35, Mountain View 34.
Wow.
Santa Teresa and Steve Pappin hitting the road to play Sequoia, the number 1 seed, 10-1. Sequoia last week survived against Overfelt. What was that? 51-50? 51-50. Double overtime. They're going to be going up against Steve Pappin's boys. Man, I'll let you go first, Joseph.
All right, so I picked Santa Teresa to win this division, and my bold prediction is Sequoia. They scored 51 points last week. I think they end up scoring 1/3 of that this week. They're going to score. Sequoia's going to score 17, and they're going to lose. A relatively low scoring game. I think it's going to be 21-17. But Santa Teresa is going to pull off the upset.
Lefty.
Well, I'm going to stick with Sequoia. I think they've got a pretty good team this year.
And I am going with Santa Teresa. And the computer says Santa Teresa. There's one reason why Santa Teresa beat Overfelt this year. 23-6.
I was there for that game. Yeah, they dominated Overfelt in that game.
Okay. So 28-20. Santa Teresa is picked to win that game by Cal Prep. So Lefty, you're the only one going with the top seeded Ravens of Sequoia.
No, I think it's their year.
What's that?
I think it's Sequoia's year.
All right. Let's see what happens. Game 7 on the list. Division 5 CCS. The 5th seeded Monterey. What's Monterey's nickname?
Toradors. Oh, okay. It's
Toradors. They're at 7-4, hitting the road to play the Warriors of Westmont, 10-1. Jacob Lang up for Athlete of the Week this week by the Bay Area News Group for Westmont. Last week, he carried 23 times. He gained 318 yards. He scored 5 touchdowns against Willow Glen. Don't think he's going to get that many yards this time, but I'm still taking Westmont. Even though I took Monterey last week against Pioneer, I'm taking Westmont to reach the final and to win Friday night. Joseph, who you got?
Yeah, I'm going with Westmont. And when I was reading the Athletes of the Week little bios that you write, when it came to how much he had run for, I was like, wait, did I read that right? 318 yards in a playoff game?
That's what he did. Lefty, who you got?
Yeah, I'm going with Westmont. Yeah, he must have been tired after that 318 yards. But yeah, I think Westmont's got a pretty good team.
Cal Preps is taking Monterey 35-28.
Wow.
So we'll see. Those teams from the South are good. It wouldn't surprise me if Monterey won, but I'm taking Westmont.
Yeah, no, I was debating that game for a while. Monterey and Seaside both have pretty competitive football programs.
Moving on to the North Coast section, Open Division 1. This is the bottom half of the bracket where the winner moves into the Division 1 final next week. the loser, season is over. Liberty, 8-3, 4th seed, traveling to Clayton Valley Charter, 7-4. Be Christian Aguilar against Mr. Bell for Liberty. Didn't Aguilar start out there in Brentwood somewhere? Was it which school did he Freedom? Where did he start out, Lefty?
I thought it was Freedom, but I'm not. I wouldn't bet on it.
I'm not 100% sure, but
I'm not 100%, but I think you might be right.
I'm sure he's very familiar with Nate Bell. Yes. Lefty, I'm gonna let you pick first.
Well, I'm going to go with the Ugly Eagles, Clayton Valley. I think this is going to be a real close game. Liberty is playing well, and I keep hearing great things about Nate Bell, but I think Clayton will. Clayton will pull this one off.
Yeah,
Liberty's playing great.
Yeah, they are.
Joseph, who you got?
I think I picked Clayton Valley to win NCS Division 1, but I think this game's going to go to overtime.
Woo!
Yeah.
I thought about picking Liberty, but I changed up. Excuse me, I need a little water here. Or coffee. I changed up. I am taking the Ugly Eagles to win. And Cal Preps is taking the Ugly Eagles as well. 35-28, so it's a clean sweep. Now watch Liberty win, right?
Right. Watch them
win. It wouldn't be I don't think
it would be a shock.
No, it wouldn't be an upset.
No.
I mean, they almost beat Pittsburgh.
Yeah, no, Liberty's got a good football team. And like I say, a couple coaches I've talked to, and Nate Bell is a load. Not only is he shifty and he can run, but he can throw the ball too.
He's up for
they've got good players.
He went over 100, I think, passing and rushing last week.
Right, and they've got good receivers and running backs. It's not just Nate Bell, so that's a good football team.
NCS Division 2, 9th game on our list of 15, the 4th seed Foothill Falcons, 7-4, hitting the road against San Ramon Valley, the Wolves at 9-2. Lefty, who you got?
Well, I'm going to go with San Ramon Valley, but I think Foothill can give them a battle. Chris Lawson's a terrific player, and but man, it's tough to pick against Luke Baker and that passing offense that San Ramon has.
Yep.
Yeah.
Joseph?
I think Foothill might keep it close for a half, but San Ramon Valley is going to pull away in the second half. They've just got so many weapons.
I have San Ramon winning this game, and so does Cal Preps 38-14. So another clean sweep. Game 10. This one was tough. Rancho Cotate, 9-2. Rich history. The school from Roner Park. Traveling to Moraga to play Campolindo, 11-0. Joseph, you're going to be here.
I'm going to be there.
Who you got?
I'm going to take Campo. They're the home team.
You didn't take them against Las Lomas.
I did not, but I learned the error of my ways. So take Campo. But I was looking back through Max Preps' his game history, and these two teams have only played each other. I think it's is it 3 times?
In the Max Preps era.
In Max Preps era, which I thought was very odd. I thought these two teams might have matched up more often than that. For what it's worth, Rancho holds the series lead 2-1, but I think Campo wins in 27-20.
Very close to Cal Preps. I'm also taking Campo, and I think it's going to be very close. It could even go overtime. It's going to be really close. Lefty, who you got?
Yeah, let's make it a clean sweep. I'm going with Campolindo as well.
And Cal Preps predicts Campo 27, Rancho Cotate 22. So right there with Joseph. Another tough one. NCS Division 4, the 3rd seeded team from Santa Rosa, Cardinal Newman, traveling down to play Acalanes. Floyd Burnsett's team is 10-1. Very good. Only loss was a tight game against Campolindo on the road. I'm taking Acalanes to advance to the final. Lefty, who you got?
An interesting note about that game, Floyd Burns said, the Acalanes coach, he was telling me that in his long career, he's only played one game against Cardinal Newman. That was in 1983 when he was coaching at Miramonte. And they played in the Coliseum, and Miramonte beat Cardinal Newman for a section championship. I think Acalane, he wins again against Cardinal Newman, this time with Acalanes.
Okay, so 2 for Acalanes. Joseph?
Make it 3 for Acalanes.
All right, and make it 4 because Cal Preps is predicting Acalanes to win 28-20. Bill Jensen will be there covering that game for us. Game 12 on the list, NCS Division 5. Number 3, Annalee, hitting the road to Orinda to play number 2, Miramonte. Joseph, you've been high on Miramonte all season.
I have.
I'm going to let you pick first. Who you got?
I think I got Miramonte, but I think it's gonna be, I don't know. It looks like an Annalee. Is it Annalee? Annalee? How do you pronounce it?
Annalee.
They I think it's gonna be lower scoring than people think.
Okay. So you're taking Miramonte. I'm taking Miramonte. Lefty, who you got?
Yeah, I've got Miramonte. I think by 2 scores or so.
Cal Preps doesn't think it's going to be 2 scores. Thinks it's going to be 2 points. It's predicting Miramonte to win 44-42.
Ooh.
Well,
yeah.
That'd be a great game.
Close, yes. Saturday, CCS Division 1, a team that you saw you saw both of these teams, Joseph.
Saw both these teams. I'm an expert.
Number 4 seed, the Cowboys of Salinas, hitting the road to travel up 101 to San Mateo to play the top-seeded Serra Padres, the number 1 team in all of Northern California. A team that now, if it wins this week and wins next week, undoubtedly will be playing modern-day St. John Bosco, Centennial, somebody, one of the top heavyweight from Southern California, because St. Mary's of Stockton is no longer in the Sac Joaquin section playoffs after getting beat last weekend. So Serra's wins this week, and next week they will be back in the Open Division Championship game in the state of California. I think they're going to get by this week. I'm taking Serra. Joseph, you tell us, what do you think? Any chance that the Salinas Cowboys can make this a game?
Depends. Will the Salinas Cowboys of the first quarter from the Sacred Heart Prep game show up, or the one from the last 3 quarters? Because I mean, Serra last Saturday, they when like Georgia or Alabama plays an FCS opponent, or like Vanderbilt or something, that's what it looked like, Serra playing the 8th best team in CCS. So I think Salinas might stay competitive, but like their tri-tip sandwiches, they're going to come up a little bit short.
Lefty?
Man, you're going to hear from the Salinas crowd ripping their tri-tips. I think Serra.
Yes. Hey, let's
Was
stop.
not a fan.
Hold up on your pick. What the heck happened, Joseph? Did you just get a bad batch or what?
Maybe it was a bad batch. Our colleague, I guess, Ethan Castle, was talking them up. I think you talked them up, the tri-tip, and I got it. It's not the worst sandwich I've ever had. Maybe I had too high expectations for it, and it just tasted very bland. I put barbecue sauce on it too. It was like 70% bread.
Should have come over to my house last night. I had a great tri-tip sandwich last night.
It was probably better than whatever I had at Salinas.
I took pictures. I'll send it your way.
With that said, Salinas, before you come after me, the pit is a great environment for high school football. That was a really cool place to cover a game at.
Nice, isn't it?
Oh, it's very nice.
It's historic. It's loud.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool. Lefty, back to your pick. Who you got?
I'm gonna go with Serra.
So
the Serra running clock, Salinas, yes or no?
Cal Prep says no. Cal Prep says Serra 42, Salinas 21.
That sounds about right.
Salinas is a very good program.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be a running clock.
The other Saturday game, NCS Division 6 game that you're going to be at, Joseph. You're going to tell us all about St. Mary's of Berkeley, the 11-0 team, going up against Pinole Valley in semifinals, Division 6, NCS. Pinole 6-4. Lefty, I'll let you go first. Any chance Pinole can win this game?
I think it's going to be a little tough for Pinole Valley. I think St. Mary's has this one. I don't think it'll be a running clock, but I think St. Mary's wins comfortably.
Joseph?
Yeah, I think St. Mary's wins by maybe 3 touchdowns.
St. Mary's' defense has been impressive all season. I'm taking St. Mary's. Cal Preps has taken St. Mary's 26-14, so it's a clean sweep for St. Mary's. Got one game left on this list. Friday night, it's the NCS Open Division Championship at Dublin High between De La Salle, Pittsburg. Victor Galley, the Pittsburgh coach, who announced this month that he is stepping down at the end of the season. So this is his final swing at De La Salle, final chance. The Pirates under Galley have done a lot of great things. The one thing they have not done is beat De La Salle, Galley's alma mater. Galley was on the 1982 NCS championship team for the Spartans under Bob Ladouceur. That was De La Salle's first NCS championship.
First undefeated team also.
First undefeated team. Galley was a wide receiver and defensive back on that team. Pittsburgh, since its historic win in 1991 over the Spartans, 0-31 against its conquered nemesis, 0-17 with Galley leading the sideline. We've got Jaden Rashada. We got Chase Tofiano back for De La Salle. I asked Coach Allenbaugh, how did he look last week against Logan? He looked pretty good. So he's back on the field to wreak havoc on the defensive line, which, I mean, only strengthens the defensive line that also includes edge rusher, Cooper Flanagan. You got Cooper Powers. You got all kinds of players who can apply pressure. You got the linebacker coming in from the edge, Journey McCoy. It's going to be a great game. I'll let Joseph, who's seen Pittsburgh more times than any of us, you're gonna make the first pick here.
So I picked De La Salle to win the NCS Open. So I gotta go with De La Salle. I do think if there's any team in NCS that can beat De La Salle, of course it's the number 2 seed Pittsburgh, who arguably could have been a number 1 seed this year.
Yeah.
I think kind of like what you mentioned, all the pass rushers that De La Salle has, Pittsburgh, they seem to struggle against a good rush really from any spot on the line. So Jaden Rashada, he committed to Florida. He'll get a preview of what an SEC pass rush is going to look like against De La Salle.
So you're taking De La Salle. Lefty, your thoughts?
Can you imagine what Galley's record would be if he hadn't had those 17 losses to De La Salle?
Oh, it'd be, yeah.
But no, I think De La Salle wins. I think they're rounding into form. That pass rush is good. They're healthy. I think De La Salle pulls this one out.
Close or multiple scores?
I'll say 10 points.
Okay.
Yeah, 10 points sounds reasonable.
Okay. I too am going to take the Spartans. I think it's going to be close. It might be 10. It might be 7. It's going to be tight. I think this is a very good Pittsburgh team. I think they want to win this for Coach Galley, so there's going to be that extra added incentive on the Pittsburgh sideline. This is a close team, good team. They played Folsom very tight.
Mm-hmm.
That tells me something. But I'm going to take De La Salle. But I do think that there's a great opportunity for Coach Galley to go out with a storybook finish, even if he doesn't win this game. I think they could win next week, and I think that they could win a regional, and I think they could go down to Mission Viejo and send Galley out with a state championship. that would be that to me. That would be just maybe not as good as beating De La Salle, but it would be pretty close, right? Lefty, after his only trip to a state championship ended so badly after that. Who were they playing? You covered the game. Narbonne.
No, and I can't think of the name of the team.
Narbonne, I think.
Yeah, it was Narbonne. It was. And they were up big at the half, and
they
then
were up 21-0, and they lost 24-21
in the second half. But I think in many respects, if they get a state championship out of this, that might in the end be bigger than beating De La Salle, at least for the players. Maybe not Coach Galley, but I think for the players that would be as big, if not bigger, than beating De La Salle.
And before we close here, I mean, I want to tip my cap to Coach Galley. I mean, I've interacted with him now for 5 or 6 years, and he's always been a, class guy. Always been a guy who, when you get him on the phone, I mean, he wears emotions on his sleeve. But he's great for high school football, and he's definitely going to be missed. I've always enjoyed my conversations with Victor Galley, and he's definitely going to be someone that the high school community in the Bay Area is going to miss. Lefty, you want to say any words for Coach Galley?
Oh yeah, I mean, I always enjoyed coaching Pittsburg High, and it's like I've told many of the guys I still am friendly with when I played high school football. I said, Victor Galley deserves a lot of credit for making Pittsburgh one of the best places in the Bay Area to cover a football game. It's safe, it's fun, the football is good, the band is good, the tri-tip's not bad, but they also at least in the past, they always served Mecca there. So I always would get that over the tri-tip.
That's the Mexican restaurant in Pittsburgh.
Right. But I mean, the thing is yeah, it's a great atmosphere at Pittsburgh High School. And I think that Vic Galley deserves a lot of that credit. And that team is disciplined. They play tough football, and he's going to be missed. You're right. He's an institution at Pittsburgh.
Yep. Joseph, you've only had this fall to interact with Coach Galley. You have any quick thoughts?
I mean, he is definitely one of the most open and candid coaches I think I've interacted with here or in Tennessee. It seems like his players love to play for him. Never hear a bad thing about Vic Galley, talking to other coaches around the Bay. And he told me that, hey, he's still going to be around the program for the next few years into the future. To what degree, he wouldn't say. But we'll definitely still see Vic Galley at Pittsburgh games next year, a year after that, and hopefully long after that.
Very true. Guys, anything else to add before we wrap this one up?
I'm looking forward to going 15-0 in my predictions.
We were all if we were like an NFL team, we were all very average last week, excuse me. Yeah. We all went 8-7 in round 1 of the playoffs. Yeah. So let's hope we're better than that.
Joseph, I'm willing to bet you a tri-tip sandwich you won't go 15-0 this week.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know where you want to go get the tri-tip, but
yeah,
maybe we can go over to Darren's and he'll barbecue one for us.
I'll barbecue you. Yeah.
You know who had a good, by the way, before we log off, who who had a good tri-tip sandwich was Sacred Heart Prep. They actually, I'm pretty sure it was Sacred Heart Prep. It was a Saturday game, and I went and they were serving them. I tried. I was like, this it's actually pretty good. So Sacred Heart Prep.
Sarah? It was Sacred Heart Prep.
Yeah, it wasn't Sarah. It was either Prep or Menlo Atherton. It was one of those two schools. It was a Saturday afternoon. I remember the sandwich was really good.
Okay.
So,
well, you'll have to do some digging, some investigating, and come back next week and tell us accurately which place had that sandwich. That's a wrap. Check us out, mercurynews.com, eastbaytimes.com. We'll have coverage all weekend. Thanks for watching.